The following is a presentation of CBC Sports.
Today, Sports Weekend heads to the extreme south of the People's Republic of China, to Nanning, a city of 7 million. And here, the magicians of gymnastics find fertile soil for the World Championships in a hotbed of the sport. It is a sport that makes your jaw drop. The impossible made real. Gymnastics, where art and sport collide. The result has been the athletic expression of human movement. It is a foundation sport which has appeared at every Olympic summit since the first modern games in 1896. The 45th World Artistic Gymnastics Championships on CBC. China last hosted in Tianjin in 1999. A lot has happened in 15 years. One thing remains constant. China is a superpower. Proud to be alongside 2004 Olympic champion Kyle Schufelt as we take you inside the Guangxi Sports Center Gymnasium. Kyle, some superstars ready to strut their stuff in China.
The men's all-around competition is shaping up to be a great one. We have Kohei Uchimura from Japan. He is the Olympic champion, also four-time world champion, and here he's gunning for his 5th all-around title. But looking to challenge him is Max Whitlock, Commonwealth Games gold medalist, 2013 World Championship silver medalist in the pommel horse from Great Britain. He's really coming on this year. And we also have from China, Deng Shudi. He's the all-around champion from China, and they are very strong.
Qualifying day one, each gymnast setting the table for the team final. Top 4, 24 advance to the all-around. The top 8 in each apparatus to the individual event final. Here's Uchimura on the high bar, one of his signature events.
And in the qualification, Kohei Uchimura was the king. He really dominated over the field. Coming into the finals, it is new life. Everyone starts from a 0, but he did have like a 1.5 points over everyone else. He is so good.
How about Scott Morgan, the 25-year-old from North Vancouver, BC?
Unfortunately, we won't be seeing any Canadians here in the all-around final or the apparatus finals, but Scott is really the leader of the Canadian team. The men did have a 14th place finish as a team, so they'll move forward to the next World Championships, and Scott is going to be a leader of that team. 4
medals at the Commonwealth Games. Here's Ellie Black, a 19-year-old from Halifax, a bright light for Canadian gymnastics.
She has established herself as a Canadian gymnastics legend here at the World Championships, qualifying to the all-around, also making the balance beam finals. She delivered a huge difficulty routine, and Ellie now is in the history books.
Gold medalist at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow on the balance beam as we send the men to the podium for the all-around final. These are the Elite 24. Now, it's a packed gymnasium here at Guangxi in Nanning. Each of the gymnasts will have to do each of 6 apparatus, and then the top total score determines the gold medal. Let's get underway. Cheng Ran of China on the floor exercise. Now, the Olympic order, Kyle, as you know, begins with the floor X and winds up with the high bar.
They group the gentlemen based on their qualifications. So the top 6 will start on the floor exercise, 7 to 12, pommel horse, and moving forward there to the rings and the vault. But this top group is on floor exercise, and you can see right there why. Floor has really turned into an endurance event. Now it's all about packing in as much difficulty as you possibly can. Not as much room for the artistry as we've seen in the past, but these guys are really showing amazing amounts of difficulty.
Big tumbling pass for Cheng Rang there. 9,000 inside the gymnasium, squarely on the side of the Chinese, obviously.
They do have the home court advantage, and they've really been rising to that occasion. The Chinese team here at the World Championships is pretty new, not too much experience for them, but they've been quite impressive. Triple twisting dismount. Lands with no problem.
And a signal to the crowd, Cheng Ran of China. Now here from Ukraine, Oleg Vernayev. Qualified 7th to the all-around final with a score of 89.23. This is one of the most difficult events in all of gymnastics. As you well know, Kyle, the pommel horse.
In the qualification round, he did struggle heavily on this event. He did take a fall, only scored a 13.366. But a lot of the world has really placed eyes on him as someone that could challenge. And it's because of skills like that. The triple rush and in between the pommels, hips have to be so high. You can see he's very slight. He really has a great line to him, good body positions, getting those hips nice and high. Oleg is good across the board, really excels on the parallel bars, but he can do big gymnastics on all 6 of the apparatus, which makes him someone who can really possibly push Uchimura.
Traveling up and down the horse and then the dismount. He was 15th all around at the last World Championships in Antwerp. Has all the skills, but is known to be inconsistent at times. The score for Cheng Ran of China on the floor exercise, 15.3. That means he's off to a great start in the all-around final. And checking Vernayev of Ukraine on the pommel horse, 15.233. That also a very big score to get underway. Now Max Whitlock of Great Britain, part of a young British side that's resurgent.
I would say resurgent is an understatement. This British team has exploded onto the scene ever since London 2012. They came 3rd as a team there, and Max Whitlock was a part of that great success. He's a pommel horse specialist. He really is beautiful on this event. Does some ultra difficult skills like this one called the Buznari. Flares up into the handstand. So difficult to continue the momentum after going up into the handstand halfway in that routine. Max did struggle in the qualification on this event though. Maybe there was a curse on the pommel horse in that qualification round. But here today, looking smooth and clean.
Most difficult pommel horse routine in the business, and you can see why. Max Whitlock of Team GB, European champion on the pommel horse. Now to Deng Shudi of China, the 23-year-old. This country values its specialists. He's the generalist in the crowd. He can do it all.
And there's a place on every team for that generalist, the guy that can go and hit. He really has a nice style about him. And right there, that's not pretty. That's amazing. That's a 3.5 twist into a punch front. Gymnastics, Scott, has evolved so much over the past few years. The triple twist now is like nothing. It's about the 3.5, and some guys are even doing quad. It's really evolved like figure skating has. You see here they move so quickly from tumbling pass to tumbling pass, just trying to pack in as much difficulty as they can. There's 2 panels of judges. There's a difficulty panel, which are watching the skills and the elements that they do. There's special requirements such as this. This is a non-gymnastic skill that's called a wide arm handstand. We'll give them 3/10 towards that difficulty score. But they're also judging the execution. That's the clean legs. Those legs were glued together. Small hop to the side.
Great to get the analysis of Kyle Schufelt, the 2004 Olympic champion on floor exercise. Another look at Deng Shudi.
This is that 3.5 twister mount. Lands a little bit not quite square. Right there. Check out the legs. They are glued together.
Picking up the score of Max Whitlock of GB. Look at this, Kyle. 16 on the pommel horse, the most difficult routine in the world, and Whitlock delivers. Here is the 4-time all-around world champion, the legendary Kohei Uchimura of Japan, 25 years of age. People say he may be the best ever.
He is cool as a cucumber. And I would highly agree with everyone. He's established himself as a history maker. And what impresses me the most about Kohei Uchimura is he can come into a competition and he turns it up. He turns it up a notch for the all-around based on the qualifying. Here he's just nailing everything.
You know, when they say he's the best ever, that's saying a lot, because you have to consider gymnasts like Vitaly Sherbo, Li Ning, Vladimir Artemov, Alexei Nemov, Tsukahara, his Japanese predecessor. But this man has stood the test of time.
It's quite fun to look at photos of Uchimura on the podium. He always has different people surrounding him, but he's always at the top. He really has set the new standard. He'll be ending with that common triple twist dismount. Usually sticks it cold.
Gold and 2 silver medals at the London Olympic Games in 2012. 4-time all-around world champion Kohei Uchimura of Japan on the Florex.
Did he ever bring his A game to this first apparatus? Maybe a little bit of intimidation for his competitors, but he really is in a league of his own. Look at the toes. Look at those legs glued together and the stuck landings, like they're going out of style.
And you're going to love that score, 15.766 for Uchimura of Japan, off to a wonderful start in search of his 5th consecutive title. His teammate, Yusuke Tanaka, a 24-year-old, part of the silver medal team at the London Games in 2012.
He comes from a gymnastics pedigree, that's for sure. Sister and brother are also Olympians in the sport of gymnastics. The Japanese style is different than what you see from a lot of the other countries. They really have a lightness and a finesse, this beautiful elegance to their work. Nothing looks labored. Check that out. Look how low he is. It's almost like he's sniffing the floor. That is the way that you want to do that wide arm handstand. The Japanese team is so deep that 2013 World Championship all-around medalist Ryohei Kato did not qualify to this all-around final. He got beat out by this guy.
And nails the final tumbling pass. Yusuke Tanaka, qualified 6th to the all-around final, could be moving up. Just a slight hop on the landing. Check the score, 15.2 for Tanaka. Well, Max Whitlock of Great Britain, brilliant on the difficult pommel horse. The first of a grueling 6 rotations done. Whitlock has a slight lead over 4-time world champion Kohei Uchimura of Japan. When we come back, the second apparatus for each of the Elite 24. You're watching CBC's coverage of the World Gymnastics Championships from China. Welcome back to Nanning and our coverage from China, the 45th World Artistic Gymnastics Championships. They were first staged in 1903 in Antwerp, Belgium. The last Worlds in 2013 were again in Antwerp. Second rotation for the men, all around, Oleg Vernayev of Ukraine on the rings.
He's deceivingly strong, deceivingly powerful. On rings, he does have really nice strength elements, but unfortunately today, in the rings apparatus, he did have a small error on the dismount.
Uchimura of Japan, the leader on pommel horse.
He's so silky on this event. It's not his best event. He needed to get through without a fall, and he did.
And scored 15.133, holds his own. Cheng Rang on the pommel horse.
Big mistake there. And another one. He hits the pommel horse, almost falls off, but fights to the end. But this is definitely going to affect his all-around placing.
So the Chinese favorite stumbles on the pommel horse. After 2, Uchimura continues to lead. Whitlock at tough rings, still second. Russia's David Belyavsky has moved up to 3rd position. Now we go to the 3rd rotation and bring in Josimar Halvo Moreno of Colombia, who qualified 21st with a score just over 85. He was the all-around champion at the South American Games in Santiago, Chile.
We're looking at a future star of gymnastics, someone we'll see at the Pan Am Games in Toronto during next summer's Pan Am Games. and I think he's going to be a contender in Rio for sure. He has a very impressive skills like that. It's called a Liukin, full twisting Leo Tkachev. Put on your seatbelt. We have some big release skills coming up. He's got a really nice swing style. Has really figured out how to work the bar, pulling down in the bottom and launching himself in the top. That was superb. Called a Kovac. We'll see him in the apparatus finals on this event.
All-around champion is a 17-year-old at the Pan American Games in Guadalajara in 2011. We'll see more of Moreno. Now back to Oleg Vernayev of Ukraine. This is his vault.
He'll be performing a handspring with a double front and a half twist. Rocket launcher. Goes so high in the air.
Vernayev's trying to stay in the medal hunt. Moreno's score on the high bar is a big 15-2-3-3. For the moment, that puts him into the lead. Lots more gymnasts to come. Another look at Vernayev.
Look how efficient he is. Just explodes off that vaulting table. Has room to spare. He could really pull another full twist after those double fronts.
David Belyevsky of Russia, a 22-year-old. 2013 European all-around champion. Those championships were held at home in Moscow. He qualified second to this all-around final with a big score, 90.74.
If he had a weakness, it would be the rings. Doesn't quite get the right positions. Judges are looking for those shoulders to be right in line with the wrists. There on the iron cross, he does it well. In the inverted cross, he was a little bit high. This isn't his forte. Does lack a little bit of that beast strength that we see from some of the best ring guys in the world. He is the best all-arounder from Russia. Has a really nice body line in the handstands. Really stretched. And big dismount there. Double twisting, double layout.
6 all around at the 2011 World Championships in Tokyo. The vault score for Oleg Vernayev, there it is, 15-4. That'll move him up in the rankings. And one more look at Belyevsky.
Beautiful line, nice toe point. And this dismount is the most difficult one being performed in the world. 2 twists, 2 flips in the straight body position. Ultra hard off the rings.
And the score, 14.7. Very difficult apparatus to score well on the rings. To Kohei Uchimura, back into the lead after the second rotation, but now has to pull through on the rings. Tremendously consistent, who has skills across the board, Kyle.
Really doesn't have a weakness. We can be picky and say that pommel horse and rings could perhaps be not his strongest events. But how can you deny that? Excellent iron cross. A requirement to swing into a strength skill. Makes it difficult to stop on a dime. Nice position in that inverted cross. He's always so calm, so in control, never rushes.
Trying to minimize the swing on the rings.
We'll be looking for a stuck dismount here. Oh, he's brought his A game today.
In his illustrious career, 5 Olympic medals, 13 World Championship medals, 6 of them have been gold. Uchimura of Japan. Max Whitlock now on the vault. Stronger, more explosive than he looks.
That is a Yurchenko triple twist. Only 2 gymnasts in the world can perform that, and Max Whitlock is one of them.
Uchimura survives the rings, keeps pace, still in first spot. 15 even is his score. And here's another look at the vault of Max Whitlock.
He just cranks that twist around. He is an ultra twister, gets a great block off of the horse, pulls in nice and tight, gets 3 revolutions around. Huge airtime.
Yusuke Tanaka of Japan trying to make up a little bit of ground. Got a tentative start here.
Rings isn't often an event that makes you go googly-eyed, but this gentleman on rings does some beautiful, original styles of Iron Cross. We'll get to see it in a moment. Right there. That's a V-sit Iron Cross. Extreme strength, impeccable flexibility. Does it again. Hard to be original on the rings nowadays, but he's found a way.
I remember the long run of Yuri Keki of Italy, such a great rings worker. Little hop on the dismount for Tanaka of Japan. Max Whitlock on the vault scores big, 15.366 into second position.
Every muscle straining on that Maltese. He's got really nice swing ability. Throws the rings out to the side. Just that small shuffle. But when you're trying to beat Uchimura, you need every 10th.
Uchimura was 15 even, Tanaka 14.733. So after 3 rotations, it's Uchimura in the lead, but not comfortably, over Max Whitlock of Team GB. Colombia's Moreno is third. We'll return with more of the World Gymnastics Championships on CBC. Welcome back. Scott Russell with Kyle Schufelt. 4th rotation. Here's Kohei Uchimura of Japan on the vault.
A new vault for him. Front handspring. Front with a 2.5 twist. Makes it look too easy.
Current leader, Vernayev of Ukraine. P-bars. He's the European champion on this apparatus.
This is his specialty. He's so confident. Really in control.
Nails the dismount. Max Whitlock making a statement. Second after 3 rotations.
This could hamper his chances, though. Parallel bars and high bar are his 2 weakest events, but right there maximizing every 10th he can.
Uchimura solidifies his position after 4, heads to the P-bars. Vernayev leapfrogs over Whitlock on the strength of incredible P-bars with 2 events left to go in the all-around. CBC's coverage of the World Championships from Nanning next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll have coverage of the individual apparatus finals in both the men's and women's classifications. And those are the specialists, the top guns on each of the 10 apparatus at the World Championships. All right, let's go to the 5th rotation. Vernayev of Ukraine. He is currently second to Kohei Uchimura and in the medal hunt.
Without that mistake on rings, he would have been ahead of Kohei Uchimura at this point. But he's hoping to make up some ground on the horizontal bar. There's a new trend in the sport on this event. It's catching in the mixed grip. Adds a little bit of extra difficulty to the skill. Nice combination there. Gymnastics fans around the world have fallen in love with this gymnast based on his body line and his tenacity has really overcome a lot in his career. The conditions in Ukraine are not ideal for training, but he is really a product of talent and hard work.
A few years back, a Canadian gymnast won a World Championship silver medal on the high bar, Alexander Jeltkov. Oleg Vernayev of Ukraine finishes up, slight hop on the dismount from the bar. Now to the P-bars, and Uchimura of Japan appears to be rolling.
He's got a difficulty-packed routine. Starts things off with a nice combination. But there, Scott, you see small little arm bends, little adjustments. The mistakes on parallel bars are so glaringly obvious. It's just you up there. Every small arm bend, every hand adjustment, the judges are putting pen to paper.
Incredible lines, though, Kyle. Incredible lines.
Moves so smoothly through the routine. Small shimmy back.
And knows he may have opened a little bit up for people like Max Whitlock.
He's got such a big advantage over the rest of the world. He can't afford those small little mistakes, but you don't expect arm bends from Uchimura.
14.46 for Vernayev on the high bar. That will not help him out in any way. Uchimura survives the P-bars with a 15.2. Look at those scores, all well over 15, with the exception of the rings, which was 15 flat for Uchimura. Yusuke Tanaka of Japan. Let's take a look at his parallel bars routine.
The trick to being a great parallel bar worker is being calm, being strong, but also being supple. You have to allow those extra little seconds just to rest into the handstands and all the skills. You can't rush. You can't try to control too much. And he is a master of all of those. He's just so steady, holds that peach to one bar for the required 1 second. Really showing off some great control here. Love the extension he shows in the handstand on that stutz to one bar. And that is how you do a parallel bar routine.
Nails the landing. Tanaka of Japan. Great control, as you mentioned, Kyle.
Love this overhead angle. You can really see the margin for error is so small. Your hands have to be right on aim, right on target. Nothing feels better than a stuck dismount off of parallel bars.
And take a look at that score. That's the best we've seen on the P-bars. 15.88 for Yusuke Tanaka. Max Whitlock chasing now on the high bar.
Originally, Max Whitlock didn't even qualify to this all-around final. Teammate Niall Wilson qualified ahead of him, but Niall had a small wrist problem and a nagging injury, and so he opened up the door for Max, and he's really taking advantage of that opportunity.
Yes, in the Elite 24, a maximum of 2 per country. So Whitlock, by virtue of his total score, might have qualified to the top 24, but he was the 3rd from Great Britain.
Struggling slightly on this routine, rushing things a little bit. Needs to just slow down the pace. Needs to hit all of the handstands. Was a little off there.
Hop on the landing, smile from Max Whitlock, Commonwealth Games all-around champion.
Get a nice look here at the Stalder to Rabalko. Judges want to see that be caught as close to the handstand as possible. Right here, again, that's called a tack with a full twist. connects it to the release skill by connecting those two together. You get a little bit of bonus points from the judges.
14-2 on the high bar for Whitlock, and he's just dropping slightly in the standings, looking for some consistency. Russia's David Belyevsky, parallel bars. He is trying to move into medal position, has been on the podium before at the World Championships, that back in 2011.
Looking very focused at this World Championships. He's a tiny gymnast. Says he's 5'5", but I don't think he's even that tall. Nice work there, that front uprise to Diamidov. That's called a Healy turn. Does it nice and smooth. Sometimes this can be the hardest part of the routine, pressing up into that handstand, but he does it with ease. Nice dismount here. Double front with a half twist.
Belyevsky of Russia on the parallel bars. With one event to go, Uchimura in a commanding position in search of his 5th consecutive title. Great Britain's Max Whitlock scrambling now. Just floor exercise remains. When we come back, a little history on the line in Nanning as the men's all-around concludes in China. Welcome back to Sports Weekend. We're on the road to the Pan Am Games, TO 2015 next summer, the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. Today our coverage from Nanning, China, and the World Artistic Gymnastics Championships. The women's team final, USA, are the reigning Olympic and world champions. Russia, the runner-up in both cases. Here's Aliyah Mustafina, a 20-year-old. She's the strength of the Russian side, Kyle.
She is the bars champion from 2012 in London. 2010 World All-Around Champion. She is the definitive leader of this Russian effort. She's got beautiful style, huge height on all of the release skills. But there's been some changes in Russia. Head coach Alexander Alexandrov was lured by the Brazilian Federation to help them in their quest for Olympic team qualification. So the Russians are regrouping, not as strong here, have a couple great athletes who aren't a part of the team because of injuries. Victoria Komova, Ksenia Afanasyeeva.
And the Russians are, as the other teams, trying to build a total score with their best routines from gymnasts. Here's Ekaterina Kramarenko on the balance beam and a fall.
And that was a very amateurish fall, Scott. That was a jump off the side of the beam. That was giving up. I want to see more fight from the Russians.
Tatiana Nabieva on the vault.
Tatiana is capable of the 2.5 twisting Yurchenko, but here in the team final opts for the double twist, plays it a little bit safe. She's a character for sure on the gymnastics scene.
Chinese well supported here. They were bronze at the last World Championships in 2011, but missed the podium at the Olympics.
China has been regrouping, and they do have a lot of pressure on their shoulders here at the home World Championships.
Yao Jinan on the balance beam is the strongest member of the team, the 19-year-old.
She's been around for quite some time now, burst onto the scene in 2011, and has that great experience that she can lend to her younger teammates.
Romania, the Olympic bronze medalist, Larisa Giordache.
Always in the mix, the Romanians. They did win the European Championships this year in Sofia, Bulgaria. She is a head above the rest of her teammates, though, and really there is some discrepancy, some disparity there between her and her younger teammates, but she has such class, such a great competitor.
Coached by a legend, Octavian Bellew. She may be the Romanian gymnast of her generation.
And she needs to give a clinic to the rest of the world on how to do that triple twisting dismount.
Now Kyle Ross of the United States, and the Americans are oh so strong. They're the Olympic and world champions.
The Americans have been so dominant over the years. They've won 3 world championship titles. Simone Biles right here is our world champion from last year. Here has a great shot in the all-around competition as well. But the Americans are ahead above the rest of the world, and their lead keeps getting larger. They keep making that gap bigger between them and the rest of the world. And you know what, Scott? At this World Championships, I would say that this is not the strongest U.S. team I've ever seen. They have stronger members at home as well.
Michaela Skinner on the floor exercise. U.S., their managing coach, Marta Karoli of Romanian fame. Bella Karoli, of course, still involved with the program, albeit in an advisory role. But the Americans are so choreographed, so dominant.
And really pack their routines full of difficulty. Michaela Skinner is one of the best in the world on floor exercise.
And she contributed a huge vault score as well. Michaela Skinner of the United States. So the Americans win going away in the team event. More than 6 points. The gap over the Chinese. Russia's back in third spot. The Romanians denied the podium. For the Americans, a convincing second consecutive World Team Championship. And there they are. The American side here in Nanning. And Simone Biles, we'll see more from her in the show. The women's team final. Now we turn our attention to the 6th and final rotation for the men. Japan's superstar Kohei Uchimura sailing so far like a juggernaut, bound for his 5th consecutive world all-around title. Meantime, here's Yusuke Tanaka, his teammate, on the high bar, and he has the ability, Kyle, to really nail it.
Just love the Japanese gymnast style on the horizontal bar. They go for broke. They don't hold back. They aren't watering down. They're doing all the big tricks. Right there, that's called a casina. It's a full twisting double layout over the bar. Just wild. Winding up for a Coleman. That's full twisting double back in the tucked position. Look at how close the Japanese gymnasts get to the handstands on all of these skills. Judges love that. These routines are long. Endurance can play a role. No problem today.
And holds that dismount for as long as he can. Release skills abound for Tanaka.
You have to be a technician to work this horizontal bar correctly. Look at the intricate hand positions. So in line. And it's all about physics. Pull that bar down in the bottom and it will slingshot you up for your dismount.
There's the score, and it's brilliant for Tanaka, 15-5, so he is making a play for the podium, no question. Max Whitlock.
This is a dizzying routine. He's a twister. Right there, the 3.5, again into the punch front half. This is exciting. Crowd pleaser right here. The flare work. And a little bit of break dancing skills. It's called the air flare.
Got to be spot on because he was in 4th after 5 rotations and expected to be on the podium here in China.
Has a nice level of difficulty. Should be starting from a 6.6. That execution scores out of a 10. So combine that. Max score he can get is a 16.6. And today he is rocking it. Wow, that fierce competitor inside of him is emerging. Just the dismount. Triple full. Doesn't get much better than that.
He was the youngest member of that British team that won a bronze medal at home in London at the Olympics in 2012. Max Whitlock thinks he's done enough to get on the podium here in China.
He's got a really interesting twisting technique. Gets those arms in so close to his side, almost drops his shoulder before he begins to twist. You get a nice look here on the 3.5 twist, how that shoulder kind of drops. Oh, that's the triple twist, I'm sorry. The shoulder drops there.
Whitlock. Oh, look at the total, 94.73. That's 3/100ths better than Yusuke Tanaka of Japan as Whitlock moves into first place. The Chinese favorite Deng Shudi on the high bar.
What surprises me about the Chinese men on horizontal bar is it is a little bit controlled. Their routines are a bit choppy. And the Chinese women on the uneven bars are so elegant, so graceful, take everything to the max. I feel sometimes the Chinese men are holding back a little bit, holding onto the bar a little bit too tight. The arms look a bit stiff to me on some of these skills. Hands walking all around the bar. The judges are taking note of that. Each time it is a 1/10 of a deduction. Right there, we see not quite the precision, not quite the elegance that we saw from Tanaka from Japan.
Really winds up and nails the dismount and draws a roar from the Chinese fans here in Nanning.
Feet come apart slightly on all of these skills. The Stalder element, want to see this end right in the handstand. He's a few degrees off.
Well, there's a gasp from the faithful here in Nanning, 14.833. They don't like that score at all for Deng Shudi, which drops him down. David Belyevsky of Russia finishes up on the high bar. He too has followed the Olympic order.
Each day in training, the athletes do sort of go through that simulation. So he was probably training, ending on high bar in training quite often. Utilizes that new trend to catch up with the half twist, catching in the mixed grip.
Got a ways to go. He was in third spot after 5 rotations, but recall, Max Whitlock of GB has been outstanding on the floor exercise.
David's difficulty score is a little bit lower than what we'll see from the top guys. He's in that 6'4", 6'5" range. But right here, this is a crowd favorite. Cirque du Soleil-esque. Those are called German Giants. Just a simple dismount, full twisting double layout. I don't know if that's going to be able to beat Whitlock.
Big skill for Belyevsky. There's Max Whitlock, the leader. Tanaka is next, 3/100ths back. Uchimura still to come. One more look at this by Belyevsky.
I love these replays. It just shows the intricacies of all of these skills. Really works that combination well.
Will not be happy with the score, though. 14-4. Didn't have enough in the routine. So that drops him well down the list. Oleg Vernayev of Ukraine. This is his floor exercise. Second after 5 apparatus, but Whitlock and Tanaka have the provisional lead.
Proving to himself here in Nanning that he is a challenger. He can be a part of it. Big mistake there, stepping out of bounds. That's 1/10 off the final score, and that step will be about 3/10 off that execution. There again, not quite as upright as he needed to be on that landing.
Well, it would appear that Vernayev has let this one get away.
If you want to challenge King Kohei, you have to be absolutely perfect.
And that was the line, excuse me, Kyle, on Vernayev, that he did have the big skill, but at times could be inconsistent.
That consistency will come with time. I think this will put a notch on his confidence ladder. But he's such a trickster. Now he just needs to put it all together.
Well, it's a great final tumbling line, and the dismount stuck, but he knows as he grasps in the air that he let that slip away. Oleg Vernayev.
Too much power, has to take that big step back and goes outside of the area. 1/10 off of that execution score. But showing the fighter and the fire within, fighting for that dismount, for the stuck landing, knows the importance of that.
14-8, 3-3, third spot, but it's not a podium yet for Vernayev because, as you call him, Kyle, King Kohei Uchimura of Japan finishes on the high bar. He knows how to work this apparatus, and this could be a record-setting 5th consecutive all-around title at the World Championships.
Kohei is a clutch performer. He's been in this situation multiple times before. In fact, at every World Championships and the Olympic Games since 2009. He's been in the lead heading into the final apparatus. He's just perfection personified. Takes everything to the limit. Doesn't hold back. Just the dismount left. And a small hop, maybe to make his competitors feel a little bit closer to him.
The Japanese fans love it. They love him. And why not? At the summit for so long. Triumphant performance by Kohei Uchimura. 15-2, 3-3 on the high bar to nail it down. A 5th consecutive all-around title by a 1.5 over Max Whitlock of Team GB. Yosuke Tanaka of Japan just misses silver by 3/100ths of a point. Japan is resurgent. Long a powerhouse in men's gymnastics. Uchimura, Tanaka on the podium with Britain's young star Max Whitlock here in Nanning. The women's all-around is next on CBC. Year after year, as the gymnastic women ascend the stage, the same question is whispered. How can they do it? The Cinderella sport, the names you'll remember. The joy of being awestruck by artistry and athletics. In gymnastics, it doesn't get much bigger than this. Welcome back to Sports Weekend's coverage of the World Artistic Gymnastics Championships from Nanning, China, and the Guangxi Sports Center Gymnasium. Scott Russell, along with Kyle Schufelt, women on the march for the all-around final. The top 24 from the first day of qualifying each compete for apparatus, vault, uneven bars, beam, and floor. Highest total wins, superstars in this field in Nanning, China, including Simone Biles of Columbus, Ohio, Kyle.
Simone Biles is a 2013 world champion in the all-around, and she is such a talented gymnast. She really is the class of the field here, and I think she's going to run away with the victory.
Only 17 years of age, Simone Biles led her team to the team final and also qualified first to the all-around final.
Not since 1994 has an American woman been able to defend a world all-around title, when Shannon Miller did it, 93, 94, back-to-back. Simone Biles is so exciting, so powerful, and she really is the total package in this sport.
Biles, the reigning all-around world champion, yet to compete at an Olympic Games. Here are 3 contenders for her crown.
From Russia, we have Aliyah Mustafina, who is really always in the mix in the all-around, but never looking better. We have Larissa Iordaki from Romania. She looks fantastic at these World Championships, and you can never count out Kyla Ross. She is consistent and always a contender.
world silver medalist in 2013. Then there's Ellie Black of Canada, 19, who can be powerful.
And she has a great shot of being the best ever Canadian finish here at the World Championships.
She's qualified to the all-around as well as to the beam final. Megan Chant of Waterdown, Ontario. Saw her at the Commonwealth Games.
Didn't move forward to the all-around final, but had a great performance towards the Canadian effort in the qualifying.
Isabella Onishko from Minnedosa, Manitoba.
Packed full of talent, but lacking a bit of that experience. You see a little bit of form errors here in the bar routine, but she is going to be a really bright spot for the Canadians in the future. Make sure to keep her name on your mind. There's going to be big things from her.
Young Canadian women wound up in 12th position after team qualifying, couldn't get to the final. So the first rotation in the women's all-around, as you look at Simone Biles, the other contenders, we get going with Larissa Iordache of Romania, and we will see her first up, Kyle, on the vault.
4 events in this all-around final: the vault, the bars, the balance beam, and the floor exercise. The top group is going to start on vault, and it's nice. We'll get back-to-back comparisons. She is so speedy, gets great height off the horse. That's a Yurchenko double twist. Small slide back. She runs faster than anybody else in the competition. Gets a nice push off the horse. Want to be between the corridor there. She has no problem.
Iordache of Romania, there's her score, 15.066 on the vault. Top Romanian gymnast of her generation. She lacks a world or Olympic title in her career to date. Alia Mustafina of Russia. She qualified second to the all-around with a total in excess of 58.
She's steely-eyed, a very intense competitor. Does the same vault as Larissa. The Yurchenko double twist. Small form error on that second twist. She always has a bit of a knee bend. Gets a nice block off of the table, but you see the knees there a little bit bent and that shuffle back. The judges are looking for nice, clean execution. Great height off of the table. There, that glaringly obvious bent knee will be a deduction off the execution score.
World all-around champion in 2010 in Rotterdam, Mustafina of Russia gets going. And the top group will be traveling together and beginning with the first event of the Olympic order, the vault.
Simone Biles drops out of the sky. Yurchenko 2.5 twist. You'll notice she adds a half twist compared to the rest of the competitors that we've seen so far. And she does it with such ease. She is definitely capable of that Yurchenko with a triple full. I love how square she is, great height, and you see she even has figured out how to keep her feet together, kind of clips her toes together so those feet don't come apart at all.
First score is huge for Simone Biles, 15.866. The likes of the great American gymnasts Kim Zmeskal, Shannon Miller, Chelsea Memo, now Simone Biles. Here's, well, a veteran of the sport, Vanessa Ferrari, the 23-year-old of Italy.
2006 world all-around champion. Does a Yurchenko double twist of her own. It's nice to get all this comparison of the top group back to back to back. I've never seen her look better, and she really is like a fine wine. She is getting better with age. This is the best we've seen her look in a long, long time.
Got a nickname, the Cannibal, they call her. 14.866 for Vanessa Ferrari of Italy. Kyla Ross of the United States, silver medalist 2013 all around in Antwerp, Belgium. Can she challenge Simone Biles?
The only member of the Fierce Five competing on the American team. Of course, that's the 2012 London Olympic gold medal team. Kyla Ross was so young back then compared to what we see now. She's really matured into an elegant gymnast. She's tall. She's 5'5", and that height really adds some real class and style to her vault.
Her dad, Jason Ross, a minor league baseball player. 15.166 for Kyla Ross, about 7/10 back of Simone Biles on the vault. Yao Jinan of China, 19 years old, born in Fusan, gold all around and team at the 2014 Asian Games in South Korea.
Has looked a bit tired, on the leg events at this World Championships isn't as powerful as she usually is. You see there was a bit of a pike down on the hips. Piking down, the judges will take that into account. You want to see the gymnast land with chest straight up.
She's a contender. She was third all around at the 2011 World Championships in Tokyo. Has some room to make up now. 14.533. Here's Ellie Black of Canada, Halifax native, on the balance beam. This is her event, Kyle.
What a special treat for us to get to see Ellie Black. Opens up her balance beam routine with a double turn. Small error there. She has the highest level of difficulty on this event in the entire world. In the qualification, she was at a 6.5 difficulty level. Love how quick she is. She just snaps in all of these skills, lands with that chest straight up. Difficult test coming up, a new addition to her routine this year. Something that contributes extensively to that difficulty score. Right here, the back handspring to full twist, rock solid. Ellie has been so impressive. At the London Olympic Games, she qualified to the vault final. At last year's World Championships, she made the all-around final as well as the floor exercise. And now here, she's qualified to the all-around and the balance beam. So she's established herself as someone who is competitive amongst many of the different apparatus.
Commonwealth Games champion on the balance beam, and that was convincing in Glasgow.
This is a nice chance for her to showcase in front of the judges one more time before the finals as well on this event.
We'll see her next Saturday on the balance beam apparatus final. Score here a little bit lower than she's used to, 14.53, coached by David Kikuchi at the Halifax Alta Club. After the first rotation, Simone Biles has the lead over her teammate Kyla Ross and Aliyah Mustafina of Russia. Ellie Black down in sixth spot. For the contenders, the uneven bars are next as CBC's coverage of the World Gymnastics Championships continues from Nanning. Nothing but blue sky in Nanning, home to Chinese legend Li Ning. 6 medals at the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles as the People's Republic of China made its Games debut. Second rotation of the women's all-around, Aliyah Mustafina of Russia. Third after the first event, that of course being the vault. And this is, no question, someone who can challenge Biles for the all-around championship. She's been the world champ before.
She has a huge advantage over Biles on the uneven bars. Mustafina is the Olympic champion from 2012 on this apparatus. She just floats on these release elements. At this World, she has downgraded her difficulty, watered down a little bit on this event. Usually has a connection right there, making her routine a little bit easier. Not sure why she made that decision. And on the dismount, full twisting double back, rock solid. That will most definitely help her efforts.
Been rock solid for a long time. The successor to the great Svetlana Horkina.
She's such a technician, as Horkina was on the uneven bars, has a real natural grace and ability on this event. Doesn't ever look labored, never muscles through the skills, has nice swing technique, smooth elegance.
15-1 on the vault, 15-0-4-1 on the uneven bars. Now, Simone Biles. She goes to the bars. Remember, the top gymnasts are working together on the same apparatus and will travel throughout the Olympic order. So it was vault first, then bars, then balance beam, wind up on the floor exercise.
Simone struggled earlier this year with a shoulder injury that has affected her difficulty level a bit. Her training time on this event wasn't as much as she wanted. But she is still so natural and gifted as an athlete. Strong as an ox and has air sense like a cat.
Fights through the uneven bars, the one event that she did not qualify for the apparatus finals here in Nanning.
Small leg separation on that skill called a Shaposhnikova. Look at the air time and the air sense. Knows exactly where she is. Bada boom, bada bing.
14.533 keeps her in first place with a total in excess of 30 after 2 events. Kyla Ross, silver at the last World Championships in Belgium on this apparatus. Here, she's the alternate in the finals, so didn't have the qualifying score she wanted.
She does lack a bit of that difficulty level compared to the top athletes like the Chinese, but her long lines make this routine so dreamy. Everything takes a little extra second. She really has proven herself as a consistent competitor. Never have we seen her miss a routine at the high level.
Nails that dismount in a puff of chalk.
It's her magic trick, Scott. This would be one of the only areas for deduction where those legs come apart. But the double layout, she knows exactly where she is. You can tell she's well practiced. She's done that routine 1,000 times.
14.7 for Ross on the bars, into third position behind Biles and Aliyah Mustafina of Russia. Now the bars, typically an area of strength for the Chinese gymnasts. You hear the crowd now as they anticipate the routine of Yao Jinan, the 19-year-old. She was the top qualifier to the event final on the bars.
You're exactly right, Scott. The Chinese do set the standard here. When they're in training, the entire training hall drools when the Chinese go to bars. You'll see those cables on the side are looking a little bit loose. The Chinese athletes apparently like it. Usually if they're tighter, it gives you a little more pop on the bars. But they clearly know what they're doing. Makes me a little nervous. She does have an ultra difficult routine. We'll see her in the finals. And right there, not a question mark. That was superb.
Stands it right up, and she's got the crowd standing.
Really like all of the combination work she did in the routine. And you'll notice the Chinese don't wear the hand grips. The rest of the world has adopted those hand grips, but the Chinese athletes are still going barehanded.
Now we move on as we await the score of Yao Jinan to Alla Sosnitskaya of Russia. Qualified 9th to the all-around competition. She's on the balance beam now. She's only 17 years of age.
Has maturity beyond her years. A very poised competitor. Has a nice classical balletic style to her work, as do most of the Russian athletes. She floats through all of her elements. A very difficult one there. That's called an illusion turn. Balance beam has become a display of hard skills. Not too many connections are happening. It's difficult skill after difficult skill. Athletes are required to do 2 leaps in a row. That does fulfill the requirement. Also required to do a turning element, a spin. That was supposed to be a double turn. Takes it a little bit further. Fights to stay on. I like to see that grit. The dismount there, a few running steps back. That's the inexperience coming into play. The double turn overextends it, has to fight to stay on.
Sosnitskaya of Russia, midway point of the all-around. Canada's Ellie Black improved her Florex score. Still a strong 7th. Up top, it's 2013 champ Simone Biles of USA, leading Mustafina of Russia and Yao of China, who has climbed to third. Still to come, the main men of gymnastics. When it comes to team play, you've got to be strong across 6. The men's team final, and in this event, the Chinese have been absolutely dominant. 5 times the world champions. They are the Olympic champions. The Japanese, Kyle, well, they're consistently the runners-up.
Kenzo Shirai, we're getting a look at here. He is a hot shot, and he really represents this new generation of Japanese team. Japan has not won a world team title since 1978. It's been a long time, and I think the Japanese really have the goods to do it.
Liu Yang of China on the rings.
Such a beast, and the Chinese effort here at the World Championships, they have an advantage over Team Japan on the rings. They have big difficulty scores, and this gentleman is crazy strong. Reminds me of Chenny Bin at the 2008-2012 Olympian.
What a response from the Chinese fans. Now Max Whitlock. The British team is on the rise. They won the bronze medal at the Olympic Games in 2012, and he's the best of the lot.
10 years ago, you would have never considered Great Britain to be in the mix for a podium finish at the World Championships. But now, we actually think they have a chance to challenge for one of those top podium spots. The Brits are so strong on pommel horse, really setting the trend here. And Max Whitlock is one of the team leaders.
15-5-1 on the pommels. Here's Lin Chaopan of China. One word when it comes to the Chinese men: depth.
China has huge depth. I've been to the National Center in Beijing, and they have 25 athletes that could make this team of 6. In this finals competition, it is 3 up, 3 count, so every score does go towards that team total. And China is hugely dominant on the parallel bars. And they have this hometown crowd right behind them.
You know what? The Chinese got a tough start on the floor exercise, so Japan was chasing throughout the team final. Shogo Nonomura on the parallel bars.
He represents the future of Japanese gymnastics. A young member of the team. Has a lot of style. Tons of pressure on his shoulders in this moment, and he's really dealing with it well. Hard to contend with the Chinese on parallel bars, though.
But when you score 15-6-6, as Nonomura does, Sam Mikulak of the United States and the Americans were third at the last Worlds in 2011 in Tokyo, trying to get back to the podium.
And Sam and the entire American team have such huge heart. It's like when they're on the floor, their hearts are shining out of their singlets. They really are a team. They come together. They cheer for each other. They do big gymnastics. Not quite the same quality as you get from the Chinese team or the Japanese team, but you can't discount that fight and that fire. The Americans are really moving up in the ranks.
2-time winner of the American all-around title, Sam Mikulak. You love to have a heavy hitter in your corner. How about the 5-time all-around world champion, Kohei Uchimura?
No better anchor on a team than this man. Has very clean style. Those legs are glued together. Hits perfect handstands.
Final event, and Japan had put tremendous pressure on the Chinese. Zhang Chenglong, with the final say on the high bar, needs a big score.
And he's got the difficulty value to get that huge score. Starts out of the 7.5 range, so the maximum score he can get is a 17.5. Swings really nice, has made finals on this event on multiple occasions. Comes down to that dismount.
Crowd goes crazy. He scores 59-6-6. China cuts it close, but they win their 6th consecutive title by a 1/10 of a point over Japan. U.S. back on the podium for bronze as they unseat Team GB. Chinese stumble in floor X, but soar on the high bar to win. Skate America comes to you from Chicago, Illinois, 4 p.m. Eastern next weekend on CBC. 2 short programs on the menu, dance and men's. Canadians in dance include Nicole Orford and Thomas Williams, plus Elisabeth Paradis and Francois Xavier Ouellet. Rotation number 3 in the women's all-around final. The top gymnasts are on the balance beam. Simone Biles of the United States is the leader in the competition.
Could easily extend her lead on the rest of the field on this apparatus. Starts things off with a very unique double turn, low down on the beam. She has a huge arsenal of tricks. She's improved a lot over the past year in terms of her execution and the artistry. She used to just be a trickster, and now she's starting to perfect all of those little details. Back handspring to 2 layouts, small adjustment, gets things in line. Sometimes you'll see the athlete push their legs down, get their arms into their side. You want to bring that center of gravity in as close as you can to the center of the balance beam. Right there, another small wobble. She is a perfectionist. She won't be satisfied with this routine, but it's going to keep her very close to the top of that leaderboard. And their world class full twisting double back dismount. No one else is going to be doing that here today.
But she may have opened the door slightly with a few wobbles on the routine.
Back handspring to 2 layouts. So difficult to stay in line. Right there you see a small little hiccup. But the dismount, full twisting double back, I've seen videos of her doing that with 2 twists.
14.766. Biles in first place for now, the defending all-around champion. Her teammate, Kyla Ross.
This routine is not flashy, but it is steady. Kyla's been struggling here at the World Championships with a bit of a hip injury. You can see the tape there on her left leg. But she's tough as nails. And says when she's competing, she forgets about it. Does hurt on those flexibility elements. It always amazes me how these young ladies can be up on something that's 4 inches wide, have a crowd of 10,000 watching them, and be so close to perfect.
Meantime, while they're competing, there are 3 other apparatus that are fully functional and also competing, so there are distractions in the gym.
It's really a dance between the athlete and the event that they're working on. All noise sort of blanks out. Becomes white noise in the background. Very steady and solid effort here. We haven't even seen one waver. Just the dismount left. It will be a double tuck.
Big smile from Kyla Ross of USA, the 17-year-old who is part of that gold medal team at the London Olympics. 14.433, reflecting perhaps a little bit of a lack of difficulty in the routine, puts her into second place. Ellie Black of Canada, flirting with a top 10 finish and perhaps a best ever Canadian finish in the all-around. Victoria Moores was 10th in 2013, Victoria from Cambridge, Ontario. Ellie right now about 7th.
And I see there a 6.2. This means she's going for her harder vault. Front handspring, front with a 1.5 twist. Just a little bit short. Shows a huge sign of courage, though. She's going for broke. She knows she has a chance here to really have the best Canadian finish. There you see the hand go down. The judges might not count that as a full fall, which would be 1 point off, but they are going to take a very large deduction.
There it is on the vault, 13-9 for Ellie Black in 5th spot so far. Still some gymnasts to come on the balance beam, including Yao Jinan.
Perfection is demanded by the Chinese coaches on the balance beam. You see in training, these athletes are performing anywhere from 8 to 10 routines a day. And the coaches are always watching. If something's a little bit off, they ask the athlete to go back and repeat it.
This has been her nemesis in the past. She was bronze all around at the World Championships in 2011. Had she not fallen off the beam, she might have won.
An interesting story about Yao Jinan is she actually changed her last name to Ji because in the Chinese language, Jinan means far away from gold, or something similar to that in the translation. So she thought maybe her last name, or her name was Bad Luck. At this World Championship, she has looked fabulous on both the uneven bars and on the balance beam. An interesting fact, a Chinese athlete has never won the all-around competition at the World Gymnastics Championships on the women's side. Dismount left, double pike, lands a bit short. Like I said on the vault, she's lacking a bit of that explosive power. But right there, exquisite style. 2 back handsprings to a layout. And no one does these leaps better than the Chinese athletes. More than 180 degrees in that split.
And you're right, Kyle. Perhaps fatigue, a slight factor for Yao Jinan. 14.566, second place right now. Overall, Simone Biles continues to have the lead for the United States. Larissa Iordache of Romania.
And I really like her style. I have a preference for aggressive beam workers. She doesn't hold back. Starts things off right off the bat. Back handspring to full twist. Taking huge risk. This is Romania's pet event, dating back to the days of Nadia Comaneci.
Yes, the Olympics in Montreal, where Nadia made her name and endeared herself to a generation of sports fans. Meantime, Iordache won 4 of 5 titles at the recent Romanian Championships, and in that country, that's tough to do.
She is setting the standard for all of the young, up-and-coming Romanian athletes. Good decision there. She was supposed to do a leap right after that jump. Was a little bit off and decided to leave it out. There will be no deduction for that. Has total confidence in this routine. Has barely had a waver. If she did have one, she covered it up nice and clean. Does this better than anybody else. Round off to back handspring, triple full. Maybe when she's retired, she could give a clinic on that to the rest of the world.
It's definitely the best beam routine we've seen so far in this all-around competition. Larissa Iordache of Romania making a play now. 15-1, moves up to second spot behind Biles. Alia Mustafina of Russia. She won beam at the Russian Cup, won beam at the 2013 World Championships in Antwerp, Belgium.
To be a great beam worker, you have to mount that beam telling yourself, I will not waver, I will not waver, I'm going to be strong and my body line will be square. You have to have that fight right from the get-go. Small waver there on the Arabian. She has beautiful fingers right down to the point of her toe. Everything is really refined. Nice combination there. Off to the side on the Anodi. There, Another one. Almost seems as if she's losing her concentration a little bit. Or perhaps they turned on the air conditioning here in the stadium. A little windy. Just like men's parallel bars, the balance beam, any mistake you make is so glaringly obvious. Dismounts, round off to double tuck, and there is the fighter. Goes in for the stick.
Solid on the beam, wavering just to stay aboard.
If those shoulders are off to the side, there's nothing you can do but wave your arms to try to stay back on.
A bit of a struggle. 14-3-4-1 for Mustafina. Romanian gymnast Iordaki is closing in on Simone Biles, separated by just over a tenth now. Yao Jinan not far back. Ellie Black looking at a best-ever Canadian finish. She is 8th with uneven bars yet to come. You're watching the World Gymnastics Championships from China on CBC. Back to Nanning for the final rotation of the women's all-around. We'll return next Saturday to ET with the individual apparatus finals. 10 events, 6 for the men, 4 for the women. Ellie Black of Canada has qualified for the beam final. All contenders for the gold medal will compete on what's known as the Olympic order and finish on floor exercise. Simone Biles, Iordaki of Romania, Yao Jinan of China. This is the marquee event for women's gymnastics. And first up, in the final rotation, Kyla Ross of the United States.
Has worked extensively on improving her artistry. Can appear a little bit stiff sometimes, but this routine is much improved over the past, and the tumbling is solid. Excellent effort from Kyla Ross.
Has some catching up to do. She was the silver medalist all around in 2013 at the Worlds, trying to get into medal position here.
Sneaky way of covering up that landing with a jump. It was planned. And the dismount here, fairly simple double tuck, but does it really cleanly. The judges now want to see the athletes land with their feet together, so that step back is a deduction.
13.933 will move Kyla into first place for now, but it's early in this final rotation. Roar of the crowd for 19-year-old Yao Jinan. Bronze medalist all around, Tokyo 2011, in position for a medal here.
I've been saying it throughout the show today, but she's lacking the speed and the explosive power that we've seen in the past from her at this World Championships. She's going to be looking to gain a lot of her bonus marks, her difficulty marks in the dance elements. You see she's wearing socks. That, to me, says she's going to be doing a lot of different unique turns. One of those turns coming up here. Double turn with the leg up. The dance elements do hold just about as much weight as the tumbling skills. There, that lack of power coming into play. Very short on the triple full.
Stumbled out of that twist.
Endurance is going to play a key factor for her here. When you're at the end of the routine, your legs are tired. Big mistake there. Tries to cover it up, but I don't think the judges are going to be fooled.
And again, she seems to have stumbled at just the wrong time.
Like, you got to give her an A for effort here, trying to cover it up with a cartwheel, but the judges, they're going to see beyond that.
12.833 for Yao Jinan. Drastically hurts her chances. Larissa Iordaki of Romania.
Let's talk about intense endurance. She really doesn't stop moving in this routine, and it just shows her amazing shape and fitness. Starts things off big, double twisting, double back.
Just back of Simone Biles heading into this final apparatus. A 10th back.
Step out of bounds there. The 1/10 will be deducted from the execution. Scott, she really has peaked at this World Championships, though. She has never looked better.
Looking for that first big international win. But a mistake at the outset of the program.
Taking a moment here in the choreography to try to get some air into those lungs. Big tumbling pass, full twisting double pike. That's an upgrade from the qualifying.
Larissa Iordaki of Romania, her country's top gymnast.
Opening pass, double twisting, double back. Doesn't get much better than that. I love this triple twist.
Hopeful and happy. 14.733 for Iordaki. Moves her into first place for now. Recall that Simone Biles still to come, and she was the 10th back, the Romanian, after the third apparatus. Meantime, Ellie Black, uneven bars. Tough to score here. She's trying to better Victoria Moores of Canada, who was 10th at the last World Championships in Antwerp.
This is not Ellie's forte, but she has significantly improved over the past couple of years on this event. Has added some nice releases and combinations like that one, Jaeger into Pax Salto. Ellie's 19 years old, has decided to stay in Canada and train, attends Dalhousie University, and I just love how she continues to improve. Excellent effort. I think that will lead to a best ever Canadian finish.
3 medals at the Commonwealth Games, including gold on the balance beam. Ellie Black of Canada looking at a best ever Canadian finish. Alia Mustafina of Russia, floor exercise, trying to get into the medals.
Big first pass, big test here. And she sits down. That is 1 point off that execution score. She's not going to have a chance here today.
That will leave things up to Simone Biles.
One of the hardest things to do as an athlete is to get up after you fall when you know you don't have a chance, and to put in a great effort to take it to the very end. Pride's on the line here. Very unique triple turn with the leg up. One of only a couple athletes to do that skill. Scott, she wants to win. You can see the disappointment in her eyes.
That early sit down, Ellie Black's score on the uneven bars, 13.883, and that's enough to do it. She'll be in the top 10.
Let's see where things went wrong here. Opens up a little bit early, didn't quite hold on to that tuck position for too long. You know what she was doing? She was going for broke. She was going for the stuck landing.
13.433, third place. Iordache of Romania has the lead. Kalaros of the United States is next. Still to come was the leader after 3 rotations. That, of course, being Simone Biles of the United States, the defending all-around champion. But her margin over Iordache of Romania was a 10th.
Needs a 14.6 in order to take the title. She did score a 15.366 in the qualification. Scott, I don't think the world has ever seen a better tumbler than Simone Biles. It's like a walk in the park for her. Way too easy.
Incredible height. She's way up in the rafters.
She does drop out of the sky. This is her own original pass, called a Biles. Double layout with a half twist. Power to spare. Practically walks into her double layout. I believe we are looking at our new world champion.
And repeat world champion. Incredibly knowledgeable, appreciative crowd here in Nanning. Simone Biles is bound for Olympic superstardom. Larissa Iordache knows her fate today. Look at that. 15.066 for Simone Biles. The final results. She defends her championship, a second consecutive all-around title, pulls away from Iordache with a great floor axe. Again, Yao Jinan falters. Kyla Ross of USA claims bronze. For Canada's Ellie Black, a little history. The 19-year-old Haligonian winds up ninth. Kyle, that's a best-ever Canadian finish.
And she earned it. She went for broke here in the competition, tried the harder vault, comes up a bit short, but wow, the potential with a mistake, she's ninth. Imagine what she can do.
Here's the BBC's Nick Hope with Ellie Black.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Ellie, your result today is the top finish by a Canadian woman in an all-round final in history at Worlds. Your perspective on that?
It was incredible. I mean, I went out there just to try and show what I can do and not really thinking about the end result, but to come ninth is incredible for me. I mean, I've been working really hard to increase my standings in the all-around and become an all-around gymnast. So I was so pleased with that.
I guess fitness, strength, everything comes into it in that event, doesn't it? Because it's so long.
Oh yeah, you have to do all 4 events, so you have to be strong on all 4, and it's not just individually. And you know, that's something I've been really working towards in the past couple of years.
Your program isn't over though just yet. You've got the balance beam final to come. What's going to be key there?
Just trying to be really consistent and going in and trying to do my routine the way I want to and the best I can and try and enjoy the whole experience.
Thanks for your time, Ellie. Back to you, Scott Russell.
Thanks so much, Nick. Social media, Ellie's all over it. Gymnastics Canada congratulating her on a landmark finish, 9th all around. By the way, Montreal in the running for the 2017 World Gymnastics Championships. They officially filed the bid this week with the International Federation. Simone Biles, a 17-year-old, the 2nd World Championship in a row for her. A star-spangled rocket on the rise, getting all fired up for the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro just under 2 years down the line. 600 gymnasts from 70 countries, the World Artistic Gymnastics Championships from the epicenter of the sport in China. Next week, the specialists take the stage, the event finals. For Kyle Schufeld, I'm Scott Russell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Sports Weekend.